This is the birth chart for Matthew Mcconaughey, and he is a Gemini rising, Moon conjunct South Node in Virgo, and Sun in Scorpio. And that Pluto is conjunct that South Node as well. So let's look at his rising. It's Gemini. The ruler is Mercury, and it's here in the 6th with the Sun. And the Sun is in the degree, 12 degrees, almost to the minute of that rising. And I think something in astrology that's underestimated or not emphasized enough is when we see the degree of a planet in the at the same degree of the rising or the midheaven. We can see as well he has Pluto and Neptune near the degree of the midheaven too. But back to this Sun here and the Mercury, it's in the 6th house. So the ruler is Mercury. It's in a house that it's in a Mercury house, being the Virgo 6th house. So lots of, and then with his South Node in Virgo and the Moon in Virgo. So lots of Virgo already. Lots of mental activity. His midheaven, which is ruled by Uranus, and Mercury is exalted there. And we also see Mars at 0 degrees between two signs, kind of acting like a Gemini influence there, having influence, having the influence of both signs, Capricorn and Aquarius. Then we can look at this Sun here. It's in Scorpio. It's in the Pisces decan. So what do I mean by the Sun? The Sun being in the 6th house and being in the degree of the rising, meaning, to me, it's meaning that the Sun is very much emphasized. And we see, obviously, the ruler Mercury is emphasized, but the Sun is emphasized too. And we're looking at the area of life. We're looking at the 6th house. We're looking at the work life. And also he has Neptune in the 6th house. And if we look at the ruler of the 6th, which is Pluto, comes back to Virgo. So a lot of emphasis on work for this guy. And you think of him being an actor, a successful actor. People like him. They like his movies. Sun in the 6th house, Neptune in the 6th house. Neptune being a planet that emphasizes acting and being on stage. So we can also look at, I wanted to mention the Virgo piece. This guy has a lot of mental activity. So we could see oftentimes when work is emphasized, it's partially, at least partially, because the person has a lot of mental activity going on in their brain and they need to keep busy in order to maintain balance, or they just usually are the busy. You think of Mercury being like the busy type. And we even see now he's with Pluto. I did a video on him with Pluto going over the Mars and P Diddy's Pluto going over P Diddy's Mars, and the difference. And you can see his Mars here at 0 degrees Aquarius, and we're seeing now as Pluto went over that Mars that he's really making a push to advertise himself on the internet. And it's specifically, you can see it's here in the 9th house, and he's really making a push to advertise his philosophy on life. I think he maybe has a book out. So it's very much about philosophy and musing on life in general. And we also see the North Node here in the 10th in Pisces. So more of that idea of Jupiter being involved here and wanting to teach. And I bet if we looked at some of the other charts, we would see some of these planets emphasized as well as far as the timing of all this. If we look down here at Jupiter in the 5th, Jupiter Venus, he's in the 5th house of creativity, performance, being on stage, children, and you can see Jupiter Venus, one of the best conjunctions or most fortunate conjunctions in astrology, is sitting there in his fifth house in Libra. So he has good fortune when it comes to this idea of being an actor, expressing himself. Again, I think that goes along with a lot of people like him. Can't go wrong when he expresses himself, which can make him very popular. Also, with Jupiter involved, we can see that that expression of philosophy and teaching, and he's done some videos with gurus, and so there's very much something a part of him, very much a part of him, this idea of growing and expanding, and we can think of that North Node in Pisces really wanting to expand. However, the South Node, with the South Node and Pluto and Moon in the fourth, he may have this feeling of, well, this might be a good thing. I mean, he may have a feeling of being stuck or frustrated. I think I saw him doing a short about, advertising this idea of the feeling of wanting more in life. And this is also a common theme with people that have North Node in Pisces. They're even in the Mars in the ninth and the Jupiter emphasis. They're really pulled forward through knowledge, through learning, through expanding, through that desire of more. There's got to be more to life than this. There's got to be more to life than money, the status, and you can see he really doesn't have that much emphasis on, like, the 10th house there. You can see the ruler is Uranus. It comes back to the 5th, and definitely wants to express himself and be. You can see that the acting is important, but as far as like what he's known for, he has this feeling of, like, inside, internally, emotionally, that he may not be getting what he wants out of what other people see. And I think that's why you're seeing this shift, or you're going to see a shift from him from being an actor to getting into philosophy and teaching and spirituality, which we've already seen the past couple years, and I think that's going to continue. See, his part of fortune is in Leo as well. Part of fortune being money. And you can also see the transition there with Pluto. You can see Pluto here going through the planets, hitting all these planets. And then now coming to a point of the 9th house. And that's where we see the next big shift. We see there was probably a shift here where he became an actor and other things in his life, pretty big shifts. Pluto being planet of changes. And now we're seeing the next one here, and possibly late. If you look at late in Pluto's transit through Aquarius, it hits his midheaven and could possibly transform what he's known for, from being an actor to being this internet persona. Very interesting. If you're seeing what I'm seeing, I do think that will occur, and definitely an interesting chart to study if that is the case. To kind of see the evolution of a life that has a lot of changes or major changes in it, because a lot of people don't have that. You see the ruler of that North Node is Neptune, and it's in the 6th. And you can see, this is also a good example of how you can see that, from the outside, okay, he's an actor and he's done X, Y, and Z. And now he's on the internet talking about spirituality, philosophy, etc. And it's like, okay, what does that come back to? It comes back to Neptune, North Node, 10th house, which you're known for, Pisces, Neptune in the 6th. So it's literally, from an energetic standpoint, it's literally the same thing. It just is I'm thinking of the word. I can't think of it right now, but it just looks different. But it's still Neptune. And I talk about this in a video. I just did a video on musings on Neptune, and I talk a lot about that in that video, where it's just repurposing, I think is the word I'm thinking of. And this is what we see in a life where from externally, we see, oh, this person's changing. He's becoming he's a totally different person now. He's into spirituality, and he was an actor. Well, it's literally the same energy. Obviously it looks different, but from a standpoint of Neptune, it's still Neptune. And we see this, the point I'm trying to make is we see this often in life where people make changes and they're just changing within the natal chart. They're just, I guess the way to say it is the natal chart is still the same and they're just using it differently, but the energy is still the same. And that's one little tip that you can use when you learn astrology. If you're not satisfied with your life and you want to change it, you're better off changing it within the natal chart than trying to go completely different. If you want to be successful, if you want things to happen for you. Because if you go, for example, if he would go completely off here and become, let's say he became an athlete and was trying to play a sport, this could look very different. He might not have as much success as you can see. I mean, not that you even have a choice, but you can see it perfect. The way I'm laying it out, it perfectly lines up to what's going on in his life. So I'll leave it there for now. Hope I didn't confuse you too much, and hope you have a great day.